Back to here. Got it. Got it. Oh, here I am. People. Oh, myself. Mostly myself. Me, myself, and I. Well, welcome to Talking Tuesdays. I'm gonna turn this puppy down. I've got this volume up. Ah, happy 4th of July, everyone. Okay, that's it. No, I'm just kidding. I should have put D&D stuff down, but that's okay. Let's even see if I'm live. What's going on? Oh, it looks like it. It's been a while since I've been live on a Talking Tuesday, a couple weeks. Oh, I got one person, myself. Hello, myself. Me and myself and I say hi to you. Oh. Anyway, it is the 4th of July. And what better day than the 4th of July to celebrate your Independence Day? So, I'm going, oh, hey, okay, how you doing? Welcome aboard. Oh, Candy's here, how you doing? I'm going to post a link to the Zoom in case anybody want to come in. Clipboard, pop that there, pop that right there. Well, I'm gonna throw this up here up top. Oh, I'm not clicking on it. I'm not trying to join my own Zoom. I want to pin it to the top, man. There's open Zoom right there. People, come on in. Happy 4th of July. Come discuss your plans, your thoughts, and your ideas about what the 4th of July may or may not mean to you. I appreciate every individual who picks up the call to arms in a sense to defend their self, their family, and their country. And because of that great sacrifice, freedom isn't free at all. It is because of those that have fought and died that have given us the liberties and freedoms that we all pursue these days. And so with that, yeah, I'll just go with that. Oh, what happened here? Why is it saying, oh, because that's why I left. I'm all back scattered. So anyway, welcome. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about, but I noticed there's this audio clip that I heard going around. Whether it's real or not, seeing as how AIs and computer generated stuff is almost realistic. It's almost one of these ironic that technology be used for good or bad, but you never know. So, let's see. Like I said, I have nothing. It's always 444. Which, like nothing on the agenda. That's why I wish everybody a 4th of July. I hope everybody's enjoyed their weekend, their time off, really get it off. And it's these little moments, precious little moments, that, innocence, to enjoy them is one thing, but to enjoy them with somebody that you care about, what you care about, is another. There's so many things that are going on. It's crazy, crazy stuff. Been like shut down at work around here for these days because of rain and stuff. They don't want me to call it the ground. It's like a waterlogged black brown, it's blue water. This stuff that's waterlogged. That's been slow going. Almost back. Both my back muscles on the right side. And they both almost seized up on that. crazy. Oh, this is another moderator just have this. I don't understand how another moderator can. Oh, let's so okay's here, Candy's here, there's like 4 or 5 other people here. Hop on Zoom, make yourself known or known again or chit chat. Yes, forward for a minute or two or an hour. Oh, I guess I don't know if there's anybody out there that's into the stuff. You know, like they say lost charges like this. Unfortunately, it's sad. It really hurt to see it. Sad. Wait, so it's find that one is that my father thought that his Dungeons and Dragons did all, when in fact they they were in the waterfall. That's right, sinking to the bottom of the trailer. Probably what made it all front end all stupid birds. That's one thing about out here. Wow. Anyway, so I'll show some D&D stuff. Oh, I'll throw a link on here. There's another. There's a Forrest Fenn coin giveaway that I've been doing. It's only reached 95 comic users for the next drawing. That's okay. I got plenty of time to work on that. I'm gonna post that link right here real quick, just in case some people may not know about it. Not that there's anybody that ever knows about this stuff. I never know. So right there is a link. Go to it, comment, share it, let other people's comment. Then we're at 95 to like 112 or something like that. The next comic can draw towards that Forrest Fenn gold coin, which comments for gold coin is well worth the trade because it's 140,000 unique comments, stories from others. That there being an exchange price. $5 gold piece from Forrest Fenn's Scroll to Chase treasure box that was auctioned off by Heritage Auctions. So, pick that link. So what's going on in chat? Let's see. I'm not much of a chat reader, but I like to read chat. Oh, in case I didn't say hi, how you doing? If I did say hi, if I forget to say hi, how you doing? Thanks for joining. This is Miner's Madness. See, all over the place. This is what happens when you let somebody who's in their right mind, don't let him get on social media, internet, and pretty check out. So I did a little short, big black catfish. Anyway, back to here. Bobby's in the room. Hello, Bobby. Trusted. How you doing? Oh, it's still we're at the same 6. Oh, we got 7 people in here now. Oh, Zoom link is invalid. All right. Let me try this again. It's gonna go black for a minute, but don't worry. Y'all know that I'm right. My attention. Sound is horrid. Wait a minute. So what if I saying the sound is bad? That I sound bad? This earpiece is going on anyway. This one left side is. Yep, see, not even charged. Not even giving me an inkling of like, hey, I'm an earpiece. No, seriously though, does it sound bad? It probably is. If it is, I'll just like cut the stream. But then nobody be able to see the D&D figures. All right, let's see if I can get to this. I'm gonna go black, but you can hear me. And then that way I can resend that invite myself onto Messenger. Send. And then I'm gonna go in here. And then I'm gonna click on this messenger. And we'll try this again. Oh yeah, see? There we go. Or maybe not. Copy. Come back over here. Back to you guys. Post this. There you go. So let me give that one a click and see if it works. I mean, not that. Oh, the sound is better now? Okay. I don't know. Well, the other earbud, even though it's dying. So there's something inside my thing that like is preventing my left earbud from charging. But hey, that's all right. How about that link? Is that link operational? Do I have to go back here? Back here? Oh, my Atlanta, the world's moving so fast. All right, trust to try that. If you'd like to come join and say Happy 4th of July to people and let us know what you're all doing. Because it's a small world after all. I gotta repin this. Replace pin message. All right, there's a new pin link at the top. Who? What? Left or right? No, the left side is earbud is bad. Oh wait, sound is horrible. Oh, I already read that. Read your text. Sounds better. I posted a new link. That link probably is gonna sit there and tell you it ain't working either. Which if it does, then I'll try it again, just a different way. Or is there a different way? Oh, my lantern. Wonder if it has something to do with the wording. Anyway, I know I could trusted the trust in him to check that link and see if it's valid. Oh, yeah. So there was a audio link, which was interesting. Whether it's true or not is interesting. Something about the words of, oh, yeah, no, I forgot. Something about finding it. Nobody will find it or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. That's a good question for people, does it? I mean, this whole ending matters for a lot of people on the thrill of the chase subject. But to ask a question and to make a statement that, something, do you think they'll ever find something in the same spot or something like that? It's like, well, if you hid something in the same spot where the first one wasn't truly located, then yeah, you could probably hide the same thing in the same spot without anybody knowing if you staged or moved from one location to another. I mean, that would make sense to help hurry up and shorten a lifespan or a life cycle of an event like the thrill of the chase. I don't know. You never know. Yep. People are dropping off like flies now. Anyway, what else is there to talk about? Nothing, because nobody's coming on. Either that or I gave them a bad link again. Trusted? Okay, Larry. Candy, y'all coming on, somebody? Hey, Bobby, you can come on. Who else is in here? Oh, let's close my chat. Chat went bye bye. There we go. Ah, got it now. Huh. Nice try. Nice try. So that is a good question then. Who decided um to sit there? Now, why would Irvine sit there and recreate um a new name on YouTube? There's a good question. And that brings questions to me because it's like, see what I mean? I mean, there's a person in the chat who has a known name, but the language, shall we say, coming from said uh person in chat just kind of doesn't jive with said person. You know what I mean? Especially this one comment that got hit. So the question is this the real Katie Urban in there or is it not? And I'd almost have to say, I don't know. People will do what they feel that what they feel like they need to do to um, what they feel they need to do, I guess. Yeah, I figured as much as soon as I seen that other comment that was made. Susie Friend Haven is in the house. Ooh, ooh. Not that there's much to talk about. I'm just going over D&D stuff. Wishing everybody a happy 4th of July. They're probably doing barbecues and hanging out with people, waiting for fireworks, buying fireworks, shooting off fireworks, probably blowing stuff up. Yeah, used to do that until boy, that big pile of black stuff over there is steaming. Mulch, got mulch over there, and from the rain and the sun hitting it now, it's like steaming off. Man, I could be working in the trailer right now. Like I told today was a holiday. 4th of July. Independence Day. Oh, Mr. Bobby Brass. So Mr. Bobby Brass is in Candy Urban. Why don't you come on onto the thing here? I got the Zoom link. Feel free to express your true self and true identity. Or not. You can just pretend to be somebody else. It's all good. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, D&D characters. I mean, there's all kinds of different things. Not really. I mean, it's just like this guy. This guy's kind of cool. A wizard. So I could flip it around so that you can actually see like on the opposite side. But I mean, how many people actually want to see some old D&D characters? Probably nobody, except for those that like D&D. Oh, another wizard. Ah. This is Gandalf the Grey, because he's gray, with a little white on top. So he's morphing. Got a couple other ones to show too. God, like it's interesting. My dad, growing up through his like, growing up through his life, I remember him playing, D&D here and there. And when I don't know, people might know. So all of a sudden I just kind of switched. It was like it makes you wonder how much other people who were relatives of Forrest, um, how close were they? You know, it makes you wonder how close that relatives were, because I would like to think people would like to share their story about who they are, where they come from, the things that they've done and that they've gained through their life, and things that they've achieved, and their failures and mistakes, and be able to share them with somebody else besides themselves. You know, hence, Talking Tuesdays and my own video diary here. That's why I'm talking to myself and y'all are along for the ride. Apparently, the link must still be a bad link because nobody's joining me on Zoom here. I mean, it's an open Zoom. You click the link, you just hit agree. I don't mind sharing my personal life online with everybody else to know. But hey, that's the price uh, for, I don't know, sharing a story, I guess. It ain't much to ask, or is it? Nah. So yeah, is that link bad? It's probably a bad link. And I'm sitting here talking to myself about nothing. So Galena, how you doing? Hi, Freeman. Sounds awful familiar. Like, was it one of the winners from the drawing for that Forrest Fenn coin towards it? Possibly. Uh, all logins. What do you mean? Oh, hey, Trusted, did you try that link to see if it was a good link or not? That way I'm not on here talking to myself. I found like some old uh ABC things that me and my twin sister had done growing up. So I found hers and mine, which was really interesting because do not remember doing it at all. Oh, I found my little stuffed animal from like 30 years ago. He was inside that trailer. Even got my little initials on the bottom, J.A. Uh, won the bracelet. On the bracelet. On the bracelet. Bracelet. Which bracelet? Bracelet. Not a bracelet I had. I didn't have no bracelet. Bracelet. Trying to think of what bracelet you won. And where'd you win that bracelet? Cause yeah, sounds really familiar. Oh, Trust's Gardening. I wonder how Trust's Gardening is going. Anybody else doing anything interesting today? Oh, my right is bigger. You are terrible. I know, right? Mr. Bobby Brass. So, I mean, almost to the point of. Aha. Now. Whoops. Sorry about that. Uh. Drawing from K Pro. Okay. Okay. All of a sudden, in chat, somebody disappeared there for a minute. Now, here's my dilemma, because it's really not a dilemma. If somebody's coming in here posing as, especially somebody I know, using their name, who I know, and it's not them, then yes, I will remove that user from the chat. You know why? Because I don't like fake people. Oh, I'm sorry. There's one. I mean, living with my wife, or just living in life, you see people go by. You see a lot of people that don't talk much, and they got storms. You got people that talk a lot. They got storms. But when somebody starts taking somebody else's identity and using it to start creating whatever, I almost would have to say, push that button. Hi, user on this channel. Whoops. Sorry about that. So that Candy Irvine, who happens to be apparently somebody else named Bobby Brass, is no longer with us at the current moment until they decide to come in here with some other form of somebody else's identity, which I'm sure the Chase community will obviously spot out quicker than this guy, because we like people that are genuine, real, because I want to learn real life lessons from other people to apply to my life so I can make my life better. Turquoise bracelet. Oh, you know what? It still doesn't ring a bell. God, I gotta. If there's like a video of it, I'll have to check out the video and rewatch it. Maybe I'll just like hit up K-Pro and say, "Hey, you got a picture of that turquoise bracelet, like Lena one?" Because I'm curious what it looks like. I'm trying to think. Yeah, nope. Oh, yeah. So anybody else hitting that Zoom link, hit the button. Come on in. BS about some Forrest Fenn stuff. You know how he did his time in the service or not, but he did help give us this freedom and the ability to block people who are fake and be like awesome to people that are cool. It's cool that you won that bracelet. It's a good feeling winning something. Oh, speaking of winning stuff, I had posted a link somewhere. I'll post another one in case, because there's like 15 people doubled up on this train ride. In case somebody wants to win some silver or copper cob, just hit this link right here and go leave a comment or something. Call it good. You know what I mean? But if you already have one comment, works only. We're 95 of 112 or something. For the next draw and give away some more stuff. So I think silver's on the way out now. There's a few things I have to tidy up when I get back to the West Coast to make sure my lineup's kind of a little bit better than it is. What else? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that link is good. Now, either nobody else says anything. All right, what's going on in chat? Hi, people in chat. How you doing? Welcome for coming aboard and joining me as I sit here and talk to myself about nothing. Oh, I'm going over D&D characters or some old D&D stuff. So here's the boring part of the show, seeing as how there's nothing else to talk. Oh, I had an awesome day yesterday, so I do want to share this. I had put a short on my channel and the girl singing is my niece, and she happened to invite me over while she was doing some recording on one of her songs. So it was awesome. It was cool. I enjoyed it. Oh, my Lanta is working. Admit. I'd be more than happy to admit trusted. Unless it's probably not trusted, and somebody else saying, "Hey, I'm trusted, but I'm not trusted." But we'll know if it's trusted because there'll either be a map on the background or something on the foreground. Or not. Either or. Hello, trusted. How you doing today? He's doing good. He's on mute. I think. Nope. I heard something. I heard some noise. See, I feel like this thing is above me. It's gonna fall on me. But it's just a little cartwheel thing. Put your vacuum cleaner on it. Roll it around. How's your gardening going, trusted?
Awesome. And
Sweet.
things are going awesome. I ordered some more stuff yesterday. Actually, it was early this morning. Anyhow, yeah, I get some humus coming from Home Depot so that I can add more organic material to my soil because I ran out. I was trying to do everything with what I had on hand, but if I want to go any further than where I'm at, I either got to just use the native soil or get a delivery of humus. So I'm going to get some humus.
Like you can go to the grocery store, pick some of that stuff up in the like the dipping section, or is that hummus? Or is that hummus? Oh my goodness!
They
Yeah.
pronounce that one hummus. That's made out of beans.
Okay. Because like every time somebody mentions that stuff, I think of the pumice stone. Like somebody ground up a pumice stone that they use for cleaning, and they're like using that as a dip. It's like, why would you want to eat something so grainy?
Yeah. I never tried that hummus dip stuff.
My wife did. She actually said it wasn't too bad. She's
Uh,
like, you should try it. I'm like, no, I'm good.
it's some kind of bean that's ground up. I'm not sure. Garbanzo beans, maybe?
It's actually that kind of sounds right. I wouldn't doubt if that is. Because you know a lot. There's a lot to know. Yeah, nope.
Yeah.
I had to block that person from the channel. That Candy Irvine. It didn't. You know. I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but
There's no good reason for people to go around to try to impersonate other people.
yeah. At least not in my world anyway. I like to be real with people because if I'm phony from the beginning, the entire thing is phony. You know what I mean? It's you lie once, you're always a liar. You cheat once, you're always a cheater type thing. You know what I mean? So I try to avoid that. Not to say that I haven't lied or cheated. I mean, I'm a human. We all do things that we either feel or want to do that are, good or bad.
Well,
Sometimes bad, sometimes good.
evidently that's what that person's trying to do is create fake rumors.
Yep, that's what it looked like to me. I've been sitting there talking to Netflix all day long, and I've been talking to Netflix in my head all day long. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have way too much of that shit going on. First is false accusations about people, and now it's using
Yeah,
people's names and saying shit
yeah,
that will make them look bad.
yeah. I mean, that right there is pure evidence of somebody, trying to what would be the word? There's a good word for it though. Well, you said impersonate. I mean, that's bad enough as it is. Because you're putting out a false pretense of what somebody is who it isn't. You know what I mean? You're putting words out there that somebody never said, but now 5 to 10 people that have hopped on this train ride because there's not very many that have seen it. And it's like, hmm, there's a problem here. Like I
Well,
can't let this problem happen.
it's an attempt at trying to make a controversy, and in my opinion, for that whoever's involved in that group,
Sabotage.
in order to say, well, none of the shit that you said that I said was me. You can't show it. And now you know that people can impersonate other people. Therefore, you don't really know. In other words, they're trying to muddy the waters, but
Yeah.
it's not going to work. They're only fooling
No.
themselves.
Yeah. And it's a shame, you know. You would think. Well, I mean, we all have our like our vices, our things, our hobbies, our things to do to keep us occupied. You know what I mean? On our downtime. So you would think, I don't know, if that guy was good at what he does, you know, maybe he wouldn't be trying to impersonate people, which is a sad thing, you know. But eh,
Uh,
it is what it
it,
is.
it's more on the line of deviant for whatever reason. Who knows what the reason is? I don't know what the reason is. It's probably an ego thing.
We go through. Uh, that makes you wonder. It does make you wonder. What dirty water? Dirty water? What are you talking about? Dirty water? Oh,
You know,
look, as my twin sister in chat.
I was thinking about it last night about the different personalities that are out there and some of the people that have many multiple personalities out there on YouTube that may actually be a true multiple personality disorder individual.
Yeah, without a
A
doubt.
real one.
Yeah, which is crazy, you know.
But it could be
Because I
fake.
mean,
It could be, listen, we get people that are doing fucking crimes against other people under the notion that they think that they're going to be able to say that they're insane in the end by getting people to say things such as, you're insane. Well, that's a personal opinion of an individual. That's not a legal decision based on that person is not able to stand trial for what they're doing. There's a big fucking difference. It's a semantics
oh,
word game. They're playing it with
yep.
themselves. They fucking hate themselves. They want somebody to stop them. They hate themselves.
Uh,
I'm sorry. I get loud. I'm not yelling at you, but I guess I am yelling towards the direction that you're sitting at.
no, no. I mean, it's all good for me. It don't bother me. You just actually kind of reminded me of my twin sister who happens to be on here. She gets um that expression of emotion comes out in your voice, just like my twin when she expresses some of the things she's trying to say. She gets
Well,
boisterous, you know, because you
well,
got some feeling behind it.
that's actually how the evolution of the word crazy has gone. Crazy just means to be crazed, to be emotionally charged. But for example, you know, I'm going to say
Person.
years ago, because it's not as bad as it once was, where people were held political prisoners in mental institution and given all kinds of drugs that really fucked them up. But anyhow, a person would say that person's crazy, for example, talking against the government's crazy because they will get you. They will get you. Even though them getting you is a crime in and of itself, what they're doing to you. So then the word crazy takes on a brand new form, just like the word insane is taking on a different form amongst the public versus the legal aspect.
Yeah. Well, like you said, semantics. They're twisting the words. They're making up their own new definitions, and they're
Yeah,
using them against people.
yeah.
And it's I almost wonder sometimes, and I'd hate to think like this. Hi, Dragonfly. Is at what point before the scale tips does something happen? You know what I mean? is when did all innocence become guilty, and when did all crimes become um, crimeless? You know, it's putting the blame on the victim, and shame on the victim, and rewarding and exonerating the criminals. And our society is getting so backwards that way. It's sad to see a twisted two-tier justice system within our country, and we fought for the freedoms, so that people can be free without fear. And when we have people who are victims of people who are assaulting them, attacking them, beating them for no reason other than they think they can, or they want to, um, or hate crime even worse. It's crazy what our
Well,
society has come to.
there was a law enacted after the Civil War to help deal with civil rights violations, particularly that were taking place against Black people. That's what initiated it, but it covers everybody. And it's Title 18, Section 242, and it's the deprivation of civil rights under the color of law. Whereas, listen, whereas, even if it's written into law, if it's a violation of a person's civil rights, for a law enforcement to enforce it, for a judge and judicial system to prosecute it, is illegal to do that to people. To fine them and take their money from them is illegal to do that to people. Yet it is rampant in our society, and that law is very rarely used. There's an alternative law. It's either 1983 or 1984. I don't remember. One of those is the civil right, the civil suit version of it, where an individual can sue to get compensation. But there's a criminal statute, whereas essentially the criminals, which are in the government, which are enforcing laws, which are using the judiciary system with bad laws that are not legal and punishing people, they're committing crimes, but they have to go after themselves, basically, and they're not going to fucking do it. Our laws are based on common law. Once we break through that glass ceiling, there's no stopping the people getting their true rights to alter or abolish their government. And those people's power that they have been using, which is not just, it's an unjust power, will be gone. They don't want that. They'll do everything in their ability not to allow that to happen. And that's where we're at. I was watching a video today about after World War II, how the Federal Housing Administration came up with building tract housing, but making laws to make it so that Black people would not get loans in these white housing communities. And it's all in writing, so it all shows the crime that was committed by the government in writing at the federal level. And it's sad because what it did was it put the average white person potentially against the average Black person, just because a Black person wanted to move into a nice neighborhood and have a single family ownership at a good price, because it caused the prices in the housing development of the houses to go down based on the propaganda from the government itself and the banks, where another party would come in, a third party would come in and make a cash offer to the white people when any Black person moved into the neighborhood to purchase their house, which that would be the people inside the government and the banks, the workers, to transfer the wealth into their hands. And they give them a lowball offer. And that's when what people call white flight took hold, where white people were, out of fear of losing what it is they were building up in equity, they'd flee the neighborhood and hand over the property at a cheap price. This concept is nothing new. This is the same concept as the boom and bust cycle of a mining town. This is where it all originated from, where one group, one corporation, one banking institution would control the entire town and the entire area and try to get all the profit that they possibly could that had to do with either a particular mine or people go out and independently mining looking for gold or silver, for example. They'd have either the company store or just a local store, and they try to sell people stuff, and they would successfully do it because it's happened in rural locations, overpricing people. So they give them a lot of credit. When the people found stuff, they would get paid. So they'd be sucking that profit out of the natural resource and the labor resource of the individual. When people couldn't pay their mortgages, the ones that got mortgages and bought their own land, they'd foreclose on the land so they'd get their hands on the land. And let's make one mistake, people. The money that the banks had that they loaned out, for example, for mortgages, is created out of thin air from the bank using the mortgage document. The value of the mortgage document became cash. And when the banks at that time were able to create their own money, they could create an equivalent amount of money to the value of the mortgage.
Ain't that crazy?
That has always been, though. People that say we need a gold standard because gold backs money, it never has 100% back the money, because the people that held the gold would write more certificates of deposit than gold that they had on hand. And with the mortgages, they create the money, right? They use the money that they created to pay the individual that sold the property. That's a piece of the mortgage contract. And then the bank was required to get payments from the person who got control of the property. So that automatically was double dipping in what was going on. Banks do not loan their deposit money to buy, for people to buy things such as houses, cars, boats, ATVs, anything that they can put a legal lien on, where they put a lien on it, where there's a title. You know, there's a title at the Registry of Motor Vehicles on your car, because they can put their name on it and say they're a lien holder. They're able to create brand new money when they write that loan. Every single time. When they loan money for a house, because they have a mortgage deed and a mortgage note, they create brand new money. So, you know, the semantic game that's being played there is the word interest. The interest of the bank is the value of the mortgage itself. The principal value is the first interest, and the bank owns 100% of it. The accrued interest is the additional interest that's being paid by the individual that's paying it against the principal. But the principal is also an interest for the bank, so they create money with it. When Abraham Lincoln was in office, one of the last things he did was he created the National Banking Act, because he knew what the bankers were doing and how they were creating money. And the banks were required to have a 100% reserve on all the money they created. They had to have a certain percentage of gold. They had to have a certain percentage of government bonds. They had a certain percentage of other loans. The other loans, as a person pays off the principal amount, the value of the deposits go down. Therefore, they have to start canceling their money. Today, with the Federal Reserve Bank system, the money cancellation doesn't take place because they never print the money when they create the money. If you look at how much money is printed versus how much money has been created, $80 trillion has been created since 1934. 80 trillion.
That's what the debt limit is right now, right? What's the debt? What's the debt limit at? Our debt
The
ceiling?
debt limit's
Like
30,
20.
30 trillion, which is equivalent to the amount of money that is in the United States. But in total around the world, the number is 80 trillion because originally these banks had offices in foreign countries. To avoid United States business taxes for the banks, they would put it in the name of the bank that's outside of the country. So
Which
the
is the
bank
overseas
outside of
banks
the
people
country,
use.
huh?
It's like the overseas banks people use to avoid taxes and stuff like that. Yeah, when they
Yes,
like
the
that in
bank,
all the movies, they're like, he's got his offshore accounts. We must
the,
seize them. We can't because they're offshore.
the banks were the original ones to do that process. For example, before World War II, before the Depression, when the banks had this new system of the Federal Reserve System, they were creating all kinds of money, free money, absolutely 100% free money for the banks because they actually only had to pay 1%. So, 99% was profit if they paid tax in the United States. If they shipped it overseas, they didn't even pay that 1%. So 100% profit. What the banks were doing, they created the money, putting the citizens in debt, which they knew they were going to collapse the economy because that's a boom cycle, just like the mining industry, because then they can collect up everybody's houses and everybody's cars and motorcycles and everything else that they have liens on. So they make money. What they did was they loaned the money to the country of Germany. They loaned the money to businesses in Germany, the money that they created in the United States. And the Germans knew what was going on when they collapsed the fucking economy in the United States, which they then started calling in the debt of Germany, saying, you got to pay us. They started calling in the debt on the businesses and the individuals that borrowed that money and said, you got to pay us. If not, we're leaning on all your stuff. And then World War II got fired up with Hitler, and he enforced those liens because he just took everything from everybody now, didn't he?
Yeah, unfortunately, even their lives.
We had the same exact thing take place here in 2008 as far as the confiscation that went on. And it was not only done unjustly, but it was done illegally because the mortgage-backed securities, which is what had collapsed, and they weren't properly written to begin with. They were illegal, so they were null and void, and the banks stood a chance to lose nothing, and they had insurances, so everything was illegal. What should have happened was the individuals that legitimately could not afford to pay their loans, they should have got their houses for free. Those liens should have been removed. The insurances should have paid the proper people, but they were illegal. They were void from day one because the banks, at least in 80% of the circumstances, did not secure the loans by registering at the Registry of Deeds that the trust that was supposed to be the owner of those mortgages was the owner. They never filed the documentation.
Oh,
So they
wow.
were illegal from day number one, null, void, unenforceable, and the responsible party would be the banks that created the mortgage-backed securities, and it's obvious because they were the ones that created them. But instead, the government assisted in the cover-up because what they would do is they would find individuals that worked in the bank, which, by the way, gives them absolution due to double jeopardy. So they get a portion of the money that was illegally created, illegally stolen through this system, and the individuals give them a little piece of the action in the form of a fine, and they can never again be prosecuted for that because of double jeopardy. It's like a mafia godfather. The people in our federal government act like mafia godfathers. And these are the ones that are supposed to be enforcing laws, criminal laws. They act as godfathers by breaking off a piece of the action. And it's illegal. And it's illegal at the federal level, but they're the ones that have to police themselves, and they don't do it. There are people that have done FOIAs in order to get the documentation on how many times Title 18, Section 242 has been used, and how many investigations have taken place, and the numbers between the two are staggering. There'll be thousands and thousands and thousands of investigations. 1, 2, 3 times has anything ever taken place as far as going towards a prosecution, let alone a conviction. Like I said, they do not want to set a precedence, the common law precedence of that law. And it started right from the beginning when it was acted after the Civil War. The example I gave you with the people of color in the United States and the mortgages, where it was in writing at the federal government level, was a 100% blatant, obvious criminal act, according to Section 18-242. And what happened? The only thing that happened was we had ended up having a civil rights movement where we got some rights that were more clarified, but we already knew those rights existed. We already knew all men are created equal. That means all men, whether they're black, whether they're white, whether they're male, whether they're female, as long as they're citizens and as long as they're adults. The children are the guardians of, the parents are the guardians of their children. They are not adult. They are not able to make the same level of decisions that an adult can make. So they are not equal to an adult. But that's where we were talking last time about how the kids are being empowered by the fucking perverts that are in our school system by offering them something that they think will be fun, a play toy, a binky, something to satisfy the primal natures of an individual to make them feel good, but they're empowering them to do and put the power into the hands of the wrongdoers. So when the time does come that things are finally straightened out and the people finally have the power, they still relinquish it to the fucking criminals that are operating in our government.
And I totally have to agree with like everything you said, because to sum it up, I mean, the government, the FBI, NSA, your local police, healthcare, whatever, your community, your neighborhood, your family. Your number one goal is to protect yourself, your family, and your country. Then your health. You got to make sure that your country is healthy. Then you got to make sure that your country and your family are fed and watered. And I don't know. These are simple, basic things that man has learned to be able to take control of and use and manipulate against the citizens. I kind of look at it like that. The movie Gladiator. There's a section in there when the chariots enter the Colosseum, and they're throwing bread out into the crowd. It's like you said, here's a binky, here's something to appease you for right now until we get to the gory bloodshed. You know what I mean? But to take and use even food or water as a tool or a weapon is, it should be used for good instead of used against people, because it's not
Well,
really ours.
that's a system that's been going on probably for millions of years. We don't have actual evidence of that, but probably for millions of years. We do have evidence of it going on for thousands and thousands of years in historical documents. And the historical aspect of the Bible itself, starting in the beginning with Genesis, when a person knows how to read what was written, that's what it describes, how to set up that type of slave society where the food is controlled and the people are enslaved to grow that food, so that the people in charge can take that food and use it as a bargaining chip against people.
Yep. And it used to be something that was traded for, obviously you got some water and I got some food, let's trade. That's how you become friends. You work together. Next thing you start cultivating together. But to start turning and using it against it's sad, and
Well,
you
well,
would
well,
think that a civilization that's supposed to be a free society, not a free country, but a free civilization, a free human society as a one, versus these individual countries or cities and governments and whatnots. Hey, Big Rob, how's your
Hey,
4th of July going?
oh, how's it going, guys?
hello, Rob.
Hey, how's it going? I don't know. Did it start yet?
Well, it's been the 4th of July all since yesterday for some.
Oh, I don't know. I've been taking a long nap, so
I was napping earlier myself. And I'm like,
it's it's really
it's
hot
been a
out here.
while. Is it? What's it
Yeah,
like?
it's like 90 degrees out here. Miserable,
Ain't too bad. Is it like a dry heat or a muggy heat?
muggy heat.
Do you still have the trailer?
Yeah, I'll be having it for about another week, and then I'll be moving down south.
Well, I hope
You
everything
said,
works out well with that.
Yeah, me too, actually.
what's going on? You moving south?
Yeah, I'm moving down south to Southern Illinois.
Oh, right on. Anything in particular, or just a new adventure, or
New adventure in my life.
do
That's
you
about
mind if I ask what brings you down that way, or
a little bit of family left.
a little bit of what?
Little bit of family left over.
Okay,
Well, I think
okay,
that's a good place to be, Rob,
yeah.
because Chicago's ready to erupt into absolute crazy town, worse than it's ever been.
I see it coming. I see it coming. I mean, the stories I keep hearing. I don't even watch the news no more. I don't even got cable. I stopped watching even TV. But the stuff that I just hear just cringes me now because I've been here my whole life. And I can't believe how ran down this city has became.
You know what's going to happen in Chicago?
What's that?
You know, like the movie Purge?
Never seen
Yep.
it. Oh, Purge. Yeah.
Purge?
Yeah.
The poor people are going to flood into the areas where the wealthier people live, and they're going to do a purge.
Well, that has happened already. Not the purge part, but yeah, it has been. The Chicago been bullied out. A lot of people been bullied out of this area.
Yeah. And when that happens, there will then be a lockdown. But that's going to be after the fact, because
Yep.
the local policing will be totally overwhelmed. They won't be able to do anything. The National Guard will probably come rolling in, and who knows what else after that. But even the National Guard is enough to create a military police force
You know what?
and normalize that in society.
I've been saying it since 2020 when they wanted the National Guard here, and I'm all for it because it is what they call it, Chirac. It's a war zone out here, and that's the truth behind the matter. Now, what you hear about is different from what you see about. But
Right.
but it's very, very scary place over here in Chicago. I've been here my whole life. I never been bullied out of nothing, but I have seen for myself how bad it got. And it you can't pass your doors when it's nighttime. You better be around your area, your house. That's how bad it got. Because it's overwhelming with the young society. It's a younger society that is doing these heinous things.
Lawless, the lawless young society.
So,
And
yes,
and here's
Well,
um
they're mimicking what's being done to them. Listen, people know when they're being oppressed, even if they don't know what the laws are that show, like what I was just talking about on how people are being oppressed. They naturally know that this is happening to them, and they naturally know their government is doing it. Therefore, they're not going to listen to their government. They're going to mimic their government, and it's going to be life of the what people think of being the fittest, the strongest, the one who's able to take physical control of the situation. They're mimicking their government, not realizing the government is doing this to them so they can put the real hammer down on their head.
Yep. I've been saying that for a couple of years now, that people saying, the government saying it's the people that's doing it. No, it's your bully ways that are you doing it. You're doing it you're doing it to the youth, you're doing it to the old, you're doing it to the handicapped. It doesn't matter in your book. And that's the scary part about this is, I mean, we supposed to have, freedom of speech, but it seems like that is taken from us every day that we do live in a way.
so and this is kind of like hear me out. So like a person who's supposed to protect their country, and this is going to be a hard choice to make. And it kind of started with like have either of you seen that movie Hell on Wheels or the series Hell on Wheels?
No.
If not, it's a good series. I started watching. I need to finish watching it. It's about the expansion of the railway into the West and how two yellow birds just were flying together, going up into the air. And how they started claiming up land and all of a sudden now but we'll rent this land to you. And then that's where, the industry kind of really took off, I think, in a sense, from my perspective. Now, the Boston Tea Party was taxation without representation.
No, it wasn't.
No?
It was about taxation. It was about taxation without our consent. There's a big difference. One makes believe that it's the local government, which was the government of the colonists, that their representatives weren't consulted in the matter, whereas their representatives were no different than Parliament on the other side of the ocean.
Well, I mean, no. Either way, it was about taxes. Nobody wanted them or something like that, right?
It was about having money taken from somebody forcefully.
Yeah, okay. Like they normally would do, kings and queens going around and saying, all right, time to pay up, I want my rent.
Mob boss.
Yep. So in today's society, though, I mean,
I call it taxation with false representation. And I don't know, it could be now labeled something different, but I mean, your dollar is, in my perspective, probably worth only a quarter, of what you have, because everything is taxed. There's import tax, there's export tax, there's tax on your shipping, there's tax on your food, you pay taxes. I mean, you're getting, the person who's paying you pays tax. So there's all these taxes that are out there that, I mean, I didn't vote to sit there and say I want to pay taxes for this or taxes for that. I didn't have any say in that. And throughout the generations, they've disconnected, I think, from what the people want in their society, in their growth, in their community safety, in how their communities run, how their schools are run, to teach their children, what values on a whole would be the best values taught versus the negative values.
It's even worse for social media. I mean, social media is not helping. It's destroying them. It's one big camera over your head, spying down, because social media is always somebody's on the phone. Everything videotape, and it's a constant thing. And as soon as they learn the trick of the trade, the government, then they'll start using it to their advantage. And they've been, and they're always one step ahead. It don't matter. You're always going to be in second place with the government. You're always going to be second place.
Either you guys ever see Eagle Eye?
No.
All right, that's another good movie. You should check it out.
I just don't
Eagle Eye.
Don't watch movies because it's
like, I look at books, short stories, comic books, movies, TV series. These are things I look at them as, these are things that people imagine could happen, or these are things that people have written because they already have happened. You know what I mean? You got your history books because this happened and this happened, blah blah blah, right?
Most of our history books are not true. So I mean, most of our history that's in the books are not true. I mean, we're teaching.
Well, you would have to at least agree to some consent that at least one portion of any story you hear has to be true, or else that story wouldn't even have been derived, right?
I don't believe that at all. Anybody could, if you keep writing it or saying it, eventually people are going to start believing it. Just like Forrest Fenn. Come on, how many people think they really are the solver? If you stick them in a room one-on-one with no cameras and ask them, do you really think you're the solver? 90% would be like, no, I'm really not. If there was no benefits for them, just say there's no Netflix or anything else, they probably would tell the truth. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Anybody could write down and believe what you want to believe. And if it looks good, people will start believing it. And now that we got social media, it's even worse.
Yeah.
That's in my opinion. That's how I've been seeing the world as, like it's an everyday event out here. It's not an every week story now. Every day there is something new that's happening.
Well, that's what I was trying to say.
A deception and lie is 90% truth and 10% motive. If you can't see their motive on what they're doing, you probably won't see the lie or the deception.
Ooh,
Exactly.
You crafty. See, that's why I like you, Tressie. You're very intellectually smart, and I like to learn stuff. So
what you see in my left hand, you don't know what's in my right hand. And that type of movie.
Yeah.
Exactly, like you said, Rob. They're always one step ahead because this is premeditated. This is no accident.
Well, and that's why I mentioned the movie Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye, I'd hate to ruin it for people who may or may not have seen it, but on a gist, it's about a computer system that has access to, all cameras, phones, cell phones, stored cameras, ATM cameras, blah 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 blah, and it can help predict, the crowd because it's run by artificial intelligence, a closed loop system, but it can predict and point out paths and make things happen because, like you said, everything's already recorded, and if it's got you going from point A to point B, the most likelihood from previous recordings or seeings of you, you're most likely going to go to point C. So, I mean, like you said, your path is already being projected before you're even there, thanks to internet and technology and stuff like that. But yes, we definitely are. I mean, and that's what I'm afraid of, is at what point, because like you said, the movie Purge, at what point does this country get to which gunshot is the one that's going to be heard around the world that changes America?
It's going to be the one that can't take it no more at all and don't care no more. It's going to take that person and many others that's not going to care no more what the government's going to tell them. That's what it is. See, if one person passed away, that's no one. They don't worry about it. But if it's a mayor or somebody else, they make sure they get their guy. And it's been like that for years. It just, now it's overwhelming out there.
It's crazy.
It's an and it's true. It's not just like, like it's your cities are bad. Like this is the Wild Wild West out here. That's what I will call it. It's the Wild Wild West. They don't care.
Yeah, it's the same as the Wild Wild West. Hey, as we know, sheriffs in the Wild Wild West, a lot of them were criminals.
That's right. That is right.
And it's more than ever now.
I was gonna say something, and this is for whoever's left on this train ride, because I'm curious if so. There's that new audio about like Forrest Fenn saying, or it's supposedly supposed to be Shiloh asking Forrest, if we place something else there, do you think anybody else would find it? And Forrest, I guess, replies, probably not, or something like that. Now, I'm wondering when that recording was made. Was it prior to the chest being found, as a way of trying to pull from his grandfather where it might have been?
Well, they said
he might have placed it, or was that recorded after?
They said it was the day of when he found it. That audio.
Oh, really?
I don't know that for a fact. I'm not sitting next to Shiloh.
Right.
It's been said that it was the day of when it was found.
I mean, I would only believe it if I seen Shiloh and Shiloh said yes, that was an audio recording of me with my grandfather. Because that does make one question if supposedly that's the same day that it was found, but yet Forrest says that if something else was placed there, that nobody. I mean, it makes you wonder, because that almost does sound like
the audio's chopped up. First of all, the audio's chopped up.
That's true too.
It's chopped up bad. I mean, 18 seconds in, you don't hear nothing.
Okay? And then there's another cutout too. It changes.
And then I'm gonna call it like it is. Shiloh's, if Shiloh did release it to the searchers or whoever it was, it's because his book's coming out, guys. You gotta make a little bit of money. You gotta feed the horse, baby. Give him a carrot. He's all good.
That's right.
Gotta feed the horse.
I mean, that's one of every.
And I'm not mad, but that's what I would have done.
Forrest talks about advertisement in his book. I mean, his art dealings and all that stuff. That was a lesson on advertisement, on how to sell, how to make yourself some extra money.
And that's what Shiloh's doing, trying to make a little extra money. That's all.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't
There's
care.
nothing wrong with that.
I'm all bad. I'm all for it. But you know what? If he's gonna drop little pieces like this, little pieces, that means something's about to happen. And I forget
It
the
makes you
Forrest.
wonder.
It makes you wonder when's that book coming. Because now we're getting a little bit more audio here, a little bit more here. Now we're going back up the hill. You know how silent I've been in the chase? I've been silent a couple of months. Now we're getting a little momentum on the train. Put a little coal in the engine, you know? And I believe that's what it is. He got to promote his book somehow. What's the best way to promote it right now? Internet. Put the word out there. Put the word out there. Okay, I'll give him a little audio to you. But I'll cut all this out. And then Netflix got their little cut in the video. It's like you get a piece of pie, and I'll get a little bigger piece, and Trust to get a little less. It all depends who's riding that horse.
That's right.
Strategy, I understand. Do I want it done in Oakwood? Sure. But either way, I don't care. It ain't going to change.
I mean, think of it like this. I mean, if you're hungry and you go anywhere and you're expecting a meal, there's two ways you can get it. You can have the guy whip it up real quick and serve it to you so you can just chow it down. Or you can actually have the guy take the time that's needed. Use the right ingredients, prepare it in the right manner, and then serve you a dish that you can enjoy. You know what I mean? There's two ways you can do advertising.
See, I used to be just slap it on, give me an and I'll eat it. Now that I'm older and I made so many mistakes in my life, I tell myself I gotta slow down and prep myself instead of just doing it. Because I always, my whole life, I'm like, oh, let's just do it. Oh, let's just do it. Because I lived that fast-paced life. You know, that's all I was.
Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy your life? You know?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I enjoy life. I mean, life is precious. You don't know what's going to happen, your ups or downs. But I mean, life could be good. It could be a bitch. It could be either one. It's hard when it's hard. It's really hard when it's hard. But when it's good, you want to stay up there. But you know your good will become bad somehow.
Yeah.
And that's not.
And
that's the truth.
I mean, in life, every it'd be hard to not. Well, I guess I don't know. For lack of better words, everything is a wave in life. Sound wave, light wave, water waves, the ups and downs, ebb and flow, the balance, you know. And it's learning to find yourself in that balance so that you can just swim around and enjoy, you know. Because it is nice to be on the top of the wave and just see everything like, damn, I'm, you know, king, queen of the world.
But that wave's gonna come down.
That wave's gonna come down into the bottom, and you're gonna crash so hard. It's like, man, there's like no light. I'm stuck in this dark freaking tunnel. How do I get out? And the ups and downs, but I've found that learning, like you said, learning from other people, learning from other people's mistakes, so that I can apply them to myself, so I don't make the same mistake. Hopefully, my water can start to calm down, and I can start to just swim and relax in it. You know what I mean? To enjoy it. And it sounds like that's kind of where you're going. You know what I mean? Yes,
yeah.
no?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah.
Like you're swimming to especially the family, which is hopefully a really good thing, you know, and because family's blood, that's what we got. We got friends. Friends are family too, you know. Pets, they're family. They're all blood.
They don't got to be blood to be family. I mean, that's another thing that we get.
No, that's why I was saying.
There's a lot of good.
They all have blood. They all bleed red.
Yeah, there's a lot of good people out there, but there's a lot of shadiness too. You got to be a good judge of character, and you got to be between the lines in life. And if you don't got them two nailed down, you're done. Like, you're gonna get taken advantage of, and it's sad, but that's how it is now. It's a lot harder.
Can you say that again? Because that was well said.
Oh, I don't know where I was really going with that. I'm just saying it just gets harder and harder, like, you know, in life. And you could be friends with anybody. But you know, it don't have to be blood related. There's good and bad in everybody, but you got to be between the lines. You have to. I mean, if not, you're gonna get taken advantage of, and it's a shame because we live that type of world, and it's not just in my backyard; it's in everybody's backyard.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I mean, when you realize, when you start losing a lot of things, and little by little, and you get older and you lost them things already, you really look back at yourself and tell yourself, wow, like, have I done everything in my life that I wanted to? You know, you ponder when you're alone. You start thinking a lot. You have no choice to, you know, like, think to yourself.
That's the power of
My-
advertising.
Yeah.
Our minds were filled up with all kinds of things that would potentially make us happy, and we went for it. We strove for it. We worked for it. We bought things. We consumed all the crap that people had to sell us to make us feel a sense of happiness and fulfillment, because we don't understand why we're not happy. And we are not
Yeah.
happy because we are being oppressed.
Yeah, exactly. And they're telling you it's not us you doing it. No, it's your actions that are doing it. And of course, you're not going to say it, but your actions shows it.
Yep.
I tell
people-
Yeah.
I tell people it's not what you really say in life; it's your actions that shows what type of person you are. Talk is talk. I always talking is just talking. You know, it don't
Yep.
matter. But action, that's when there's a problem.
Well, people flood to this country by the millions, and it would be tens of millions or hundreds of millions because of the conditions around the world, that this appears to be a better place. And I do believe it is a better place. It's just not the amusement park we were told that it was. Just like Disney World isn't the amusement park you told it was. It's an amusement park that has an underground pedophile ring.
It's
What
a
the
giant
fuck?
industry.
It's not, United States is not what people think it is, including the people that live in the United States. Every time I hear people say, our democracy, or our republic, they don't know that we live in neither of those.
No, we don't.
Neither of them. We live in an aristocracy.
And what is an aristocracy? Because I don't know what an aristocracy is.
Aristocracy, in a general sense, is a country run by people that are supposed to be experts. They're the people that got to the higher levels within society. They're the rich
Well, that's why you need
people.
certificates and stuff. You
Well,
gotta
that's
be
what they tell
certified to
you
do
to
something.
make you think you can be one of them.
Yeah.
But unless you follow the right political affiliations, it won't ever happen. You can get all the certificates. You can be the most intelligent person in the room. It doesn't matter, because there is a political war going on. And the war that we see is the duality war, the Cain and Abel war, the Jacob and Esau war, where two
Oh, that's a good way to
sides
put it.
from one family fight within one another, and everybody's caught in the middle of that fighting. So they choose one side and try to raise up the ranks within that one side. In the United States, it happens to be the Democrat Party and the Republican Party. But they're controlled by big business and money and corruption.
Yep. And then
And
there's
that's
another side that's
aristocracy.
controlled by religion.
If you want to boil it down to one word, corruption is what an aristocracy is.
Religions. Religions.
Religions.
Yeah, religions
Yeah.
would be a better, because, like, yeah, I would say religions.
I mean, I think there's a lot of
I wouldn't want. Go ahead.
I think there's a lot of people that understand like what's going on, but there's some people that don't understand anything of like government at all. Like they just bypass whatever happens. Like, oh, I can't change nothing, I can't do nothing, and it's like, well, stop complaining about it then too. I mean, in a way, you gotta have to make an impact too. You can't just keep complaining about it because nobody's gonna care. Like, you know.
Like you said, action.
Yeah, action. The rich ain't gonna. Why would the rich care about what's going on right now? Like they don't care. They're rich. Money's power. It's simple as that. The rich ain't gonna care
Yes.
what's going on. The rich knows they're not gonna go in a poor neighborhood. I mean, come on, it's common sense. I mean, what they don't tell you on the news is not who they really are. They're just behind closed doors. Them are the people that who they are. The ones behind the closed doors. But
Very true.
And it's a shame. The rich will never give back to the poor. And it's been like that for years. So
That's why there's always been Robin Hoods,
Yeah, and I'm all for Robin Hood. In today's society, when I look outside every day and where I walk and who I talk to, we need a Robin Hood. Because it gets worse and worse. And it's like everybody's
Oh,
trying
no, not Robin Hood. Not
No
Robin
Robin Hood. That was a communist propaganda film.
Really?
Okay, no Robin Hood.
Watch the original. The original Robin Hood is on YouTube, or it was available on YouTube. I would imagine it still is.
The Robin Hood.
And think about the premise on what went on with Robin Hood. With Robin Hood, he working on getting the villages together, work together, for example, with food, to gather up food, and they stored it in a cave so that the sheriff of Nottingham couldn't take their food away from them. One individual says, well, I don't want to put my food in the cave because I raise 10 times as much food as any one of you people, and you're telling us that everybody gets an equal share of my food. So
Okay.
he went back to the cave for his food, and the sheriff followed him there and found the cave and took all the food. So the moral of the story was the person that had more, that didn't want to give theirs away to other people and let other people decide how it was going to be divided up, was a bad person. That's communism, because in communism, there's a hierarchy also. They were trying to avoid the hierarchy of the Sheriff of Nottingham and King John, which was emulated out of King John Lackland, which was actually one of my ancestors. And he was a tyrant. He was not a good person. He was not a good person at all. But everybody's just assuming that Robin Hood and his merry men were not going to become the same thing after they took over on the people. But the system itself is communism, communal living, commonwealth.
Who's gonna know that?
The problem is the
Yeah,
alternative with Robin Hood was better than what the sheriff and King John was doing to the people, which is the same with the alternative all the people flooding in our country through Mexico from South America is because South America is so fucked up. Whatever the government's doing to the people in the United States is a lot better than what they're having to deal with down there. But just because you transfer from a maximum security prison that's abusing the people into a minimum security that allows some autonomy within a, what do they call them? They pods. You got autonomy within a pod, but even within that pod, there's wrongdoing going on, and you're not being protected from the bad people in the pod with the people that are supposed to be the guards there. So in this
Can't we just
autonomy
like,
situation, it's not much better, but it is better than the other.
can't we just buy like Greenland and put up a few guard towers around the thing and just let people patrol on the outside on the water, and then just throw
Yeah, United States could do it, but
the worst of the worst, you know?
We have everything we need in the United States, and today is the anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. It's all
Yeah, but
there
they're
in
closing
writing.
cells and letting criminals out.
yeah, but if we go back to the regular Declaration of Independence, if we just follow that, it'd be a whole different world. Because it's been used and abused already. That's why.
It's been ignored too.
Yeah, used and abused, ignored. Yeah, things like that.
Yeah. Used,
I mean,
abused,
that's
ignored, misrepresented. Yeah, because it holds the key words, which
Yeah.
is the
We
first
the
right
people.
of the people, and that is for them to be able to alter or abolish their government.
Yeah,
And they led the people this entire time that the only way to accomplish that is through revolution, physical revolution.
And that's where I
And
was saying
they're
earlier.
leading the people down the garden path, just like the people in the city, to get them to doing a physical uprising to justify physical oppression.
But I think you can do it on the flip side too, as a peaceful way.
Sure you
For,
can do it,
to
but
force in a peaceful way. I mean, think about it. I mean, if society, civilization, or not society, civilization, or our society, America, all those that produced for the rich, for the famous, had stopped working for a week. Not that they could afford to, but stop working for a week or stop working for a month. The impacts that would have on the economy, let alone the big industries. I think that would force them into a new way of trying to recognize and reestablish connection with the citizens. If you got the right person conveying in between that,
It won't work. It's
no,
impossible for that to work. Street used to talk about, everybody have a sit down and that will make things work. No, it won't, because the people at the highest level, like I was saying, they're banking people. So they get their money for nothing, and they have generation upon generation upon generation of the families getting money for nothing, and they have so much money and power in real estate and businesses, they don't fucking care. They don't fucking care. They would rather create a civil war in our country, which they already did. That's happened once in this country. And they would do it again tomorrow. That's the problem. These wars that we see around, this war in Russia, right? Russia invades Ukraine. What's going on there? Well, Russia wants to take over Ukraine, be the governing body, be the tax collecting entity of that country. That's the issue. It's the same deal. They want the ability to take.
and well, I don't understand why nobody recognizes.
Amschel Meyer Rothschild, which was the original Rothschild that created the Rothschild banking dynasty in Europe, where he had 5 sons and he had them go into 5 different locations around Europe and they traded money back and forth just by sending notes and promissory notes. And one bank would take care of the promises of another bank when it came to handing over a physical currency or gold, which they were creating that out of thin air also. He said, give me control of a nation's money and I care not who makes the laws. The reason is they can purchase control through corruption with money they get for nothing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's still happening today. And the amount of wealth that has been acquired and stockpiled, and the amount of countries that have had these businesses get their hands on natural resources and are able to exploit the local labor because the local governments allow the people to be exploited. And let's not forget, the United States assisted in that. They called it the banana republics when it took place in Central America, because the United Fruit Company, which was run by the CIA of the United States, helped with the oppression of the workers who were working their ass off, long hours, never being able to get ahead, but it was all getting profit for the United Fruit Company, like I said, which was a CIA operation. When the people got together to unionize and picket and go on strike against the United Fruit Company and all the other fruit companies because of the exploitation, the United States president sent the United States military, and they shot innocent civilians down in the street, while at the same time saying to the American public, we are fighting communism. They were
You ever watch?
assisting communism, and the oppression of people is what was actually taking place.
You ever see that movie Gangs of New York?
Yes, I like that movie. It's a fun movie.
Never saw it.
So it's kind of like that, where the military's stepping in and shooting civilians to put down the rebellion. I mean, will this country come to that point?
Wait a second. We say put down a rebellion. The so-called rebellion in the case of the banana republics was a rebellion against a corporation that was exploiting people. It wasn't a rebellion against a government. And when I say a government, I mean a just government following their rules, such as our country. If our country was following the rules of the Declaration of Independence, it would be a just government. That was the rebellion. They were rebellion against something that should not have been happening to them to begin with. It happened in the United States also. If you watch the documentary series, The Men Who Built America, when the Pennsylvania, I think it became U.S. Steel. I forget the name of it before U.S. Steel now. But it was run by Carnegie. Carnegie Steelworks, the people went on strike because another person had died. The safety, the long hours, the short pay, the uncaring about people so much as they would die in the factory due to unsafe and dangerous conditions, and just forced back into work in the same unsafe conditions that were killing people. They went on strike and had 2,000 people barricaded at the steelworks. Carnegie's head man, I think he was the chief operating officer. His name was Frick. Frick hired the Pinkertons. The Pinkertons were the largest military. They were essentially the military. They call it private investigation group, but they were essentially the military.
I
At the
thought
time
they were
Lincoln,
like a security system.
the security
what I mean?
force. Yeah, but they were
Yeah.
bigger than the United States military during the time of Lincoln, and they weaseled their
Oh,
way
really?
into becoming the protection for Abraham Lincoln, because supposedly they found a plot to kill Abraham Lincoln. So the Pinkertons became his security, which ended up becoming the Secret Service. With all the people from
Oh,
the
wow.
Pinkertons within the Secret Service, then they allowed Abraham Lincoln to be assassinated because he created the national banking system, which fucked over the banking people, which is actually the people that could afford to pay the Pinkertons to do what it was that they were doing, which in this case evidently was to help overthrow our government and control the individuals that are within our government. But anyhow, go more forward into Pennsylvania, where there's 2,000 people that wanted to start a union, so they were picketing. Frick called the Pinkertons. The Pinkertons came in and started shooting people, and they killed people, and they caused the people to still remain barricaded, but under a hostile situation, until the National Guard were called in and removed the people from that business. Now, let's not
wow.
forget something. This business is a corporation. A corporation operates under the sanction of the government. They file documents with the government. They become a corporation. They relieve themselves as the owner of the corporation for liabilities of what the corporation did. For example, the 9 people murdered at that place, Carnegie will never, ever be held responsible for, and he never was. Frick was never
Wow.
held responsible for it. So
That's crazy.
they're operating under license by a government, so therefore it is not private property. Therefore, it should not have been treated like it was private property in somebody's home. Different rules, but they try to confuse things because the rich people are a lot more literate and a lot more smarter in a deviant sense than the
Wordplay and
average person.
semantics.
Everything's out there. Everything's out there for things to be fixed, but people don't want to fix it. And that's identified in the Declaration of Independence also, that people prefer to suffer. People prefer to suffer through things that they think they can suffer through and get through it. The only time is when they think that their suffering will not get them through. That's why they give us binkies. Here's your binky, here's your pacifier. You're gonna make it. It'll be okay. I withheld your bottle from you for 2 days, but it takes 3 days before you die from lack of fluid. So you're still okay. You're not thinking right, but you're still okay. It's the same mentality. It's oppression. It's manipulation, whether it be literal in the sense of deviant and using words, or physical where it's withholding your food and water until you can't think straight, or putting fluoride in your water until you're so fucking dumb and docile that you don't know any better anyhow.
So here's a good question. Seeing as how I don't know how many people. I mean, not like there's 13 people on this train ride plus you and Rob is on the with the advancement of technology, with the advancements of scientific research, down to being able to create things that can reprogram genetics and DNA. Now, they have modified food genetically so that they would grow, but how do you know that they didn't add something in there that would alter the human DNA?
You don't know.
Right? So how many generations has this been going on, that the possibility that they've been tweaking or adjusting the human DNA to either be adding
Well,
negative or
it
positive.
all depends how many people know about the secret.
Well, the Egyptians were altering the DNA of the slaves in ancient Egypt. This has been known how to do for many thousands of years, if not tens or hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. It might actually be millions of years. And the oppression of slavery, the mistreatment and physical treatment of slaves altered their DNA to a point those things will never change. Never.
No.
And that's why we're in the condition that we are, because essentially the majority of the people of the world are descendants of slaves. And it's at the point that the population has become more sophisticated, more literate. There are a lot more people that can understand what's going on. All people, even in the beginning of this country, in 1776 on July 4th, the overwhelming majority of the population was illiterate. They couldn't read the Declaration of Independence. They had to have somebody tell it to them and explain it to them. Today, just as many people don't understand the Declaration of Independence because they've been learned how to read in a manner where a word has a word meaning because a single authority told me that's what that word means. So anybody that's a so-called authority in government and law can tell me what the Declaration of Independence means, and that's what it means, that's what it only means, and that's what it will always mean. And that is so far from the truth. Dumb, docile, ignorant. The problem is the people don't remain docile forever. When their fight or flight animalistic urges come, there's a lot of people that will fight. Now, historically, what was happened is a contrived enemy will appear on the horizon. Jacob, in the case of the Bible, Esau's, which was his brother, his army would go towards Jacob's and they would fight, and the people of fighting age would get killed. Therefore, they would not have people of physical fighting age in either of their societies. Do you see where I'm coming?
Yeah.
Do you see where it's going? This
But-
is what they do.
So
We have no beef with Russia and the Ukraine, yet eventually our people could end up in that area. But even if they don't, they committed the financial damage of robbing everybody in Russia, everybody in the Ukraine, everybody in Europe, everybody in the United States
and
through price gouging.
we would never go
This
into we would never go into Russia. Never.
That's irrelevant, though. The possibility of it happening is all that's needed to keep people going in that direction. We should have never went into Iraq, yet we had soldiers go into Iraq and kill over 1 million innocent civilians. Why did they do that? Because those 1 million innocent civilians were primarily of fighting age.
You got to have an act of war for something like that to happen. Like they just don't say, "Well, we had enough of it. Stop bullying Ukraine." Like it's a NATO thing. It's not just a United States thing.
So we're gonna relieve our sovereignty to have our financials and people robbed in our country due to this conflict because of NATO?
Basically, yes, that's what's happening.
No fucking way.
That's
It's
what's
never
happening. But
happened. It's not going to happen. And if you want to allow it to happen, then you're helping the problem. You know, the United
I think it
Nations.
says
was created-
1977.
The United Nations was created after the League of Nations, which was a failure. You cannot create a joint venture of unlimited amounts of nations, of tyrants and people that abuse their people and think that they're going to come up with any good ideas.
That's pretty cool.
The United Nations was created in order to create the nation of Israel, where the creation of the nation of Israel was done, and they were allowed to break world humanitarian laws. They were allowed to break the rules of the United Nations with impunity for the last 7 years. And make no mistake about it, it's because the Palestinians are a brown colored people and the Israelis are typically a light colored people. Let's make no mistake about that. It's a 100% racist action and it's illegal, but it's allowed to occur because a majority of the tyrants said we're not going to stop that. It doesn't work. It never will work. The United States of America has everything it takes in order to set an example for the world.
Yeah,
It has a military power.
I agree with that.
No
we do got the ability to do that 100%. But they're not going to do that. They're going to think the opposite of what we're thinking.
So the people that you're saying are not going to do that are the people that withhold your right to alter and abolish the government.
Correct. Them are the people, correct. I mean, I totally agree with you, but them are the people that are up in government that don't care about your Declaration of Independence. They're not hearing what you're saying to them. They're in their own zone. They have their own rules. It's like a mob. You know, it's a mob. You can't get in unless you listen to what I'm talking.
Yeah, it's actually a rogue government.
Exactly. There you go. Rogue. Yeah, exactly.
But
and it's a shame.
It's the people that first have to stand up to the rogue government, put it down in writing, and keep readdressing their government to document what is going on.
Whoa.
The only thing that people know about is the Second Amendment, and they think that's why we have it, is to stop a rogue government. It is, but that in reading the Declaration of Independence, it is known that is never supposed to be the first choice. The first choice is to alter or abolish your government peacefully. But there's not enough people
just like
enough.
Like protesting, it gets you nowhere. Come on, how many protests have we seen around this country where they have been successful? The gun laws.
That's because the civil protests get infiltrated by agitators, which we know come from the government. They come from the CIA. They come from the FBI. They come from local policing jurisdictions. This so-called insurrection of January 6th, it is known, and the FBI has refused to answer to the Senate about the individuals that worked for the FBI that were agitators. That guy that was taken into the White House and walked around and escorted by White House security, and then they fucking arrested him afterwards, was set up for that exactly to happen. There is evidence that demonstrates what had happened. The problem is there isn't enough people willing to do anything about it.
Yep, 100%.
They don't.
Can you imagine a billion?
They don't want their lives upturned.
Yeah,
They don't
right.
want them to lose their place within the rogue government. They don't want to lose potential business from the bankers that have illegal money.
Think about it. We have what, 300 million Americans that live in America? Not all 300 million.
Over 300.
Okay, over 300 million Americans. Maybe 5% gonna go and do something. 5% ain't nothing to the government. That's like
It only takes 3%.
right. We have a military. They're bigger than 3%. If the military,
It only takes 3% to change a country.
why would you say that when we have a big military that could come and intervene and tell you you're going to listen to this one?
Because that's historically what has happened. Historically, these same people that control our country have been able to control other countries using 3% of the population.
Well, we're nowhere near that 3%.
We're over the 3% limit because they brought in over 3% of illegal aliens. We're over the 3%. So if what these people want to do is cause civil unrest, and they have agitators within the illegal immigrant societies, they can do it. And that might be exactly their plan on doing it.
One big
Because 3% are the active people in society. 3% are not the agitated. The CIA, right, which is not supposed to operate in the United States, has operated around the world, and they agitate people and they cause problems. Like I was talking about the United Fruit Company. They caused the situation by oppressing the people to increase their profits. They agitated 3% of the right people to control the situation within the country, and they were successful. Germany, 3% of the so-called Jewish population joined the military or assisted in what people call the Holocaust. One person, George Soros, very famous person, who has made his living on destroying and taking money away from countries using monetary policy and trading on a world stock market system. If you look at him, and I've seen him on video where he's talking about his history during the time of World War II, he was a child, but he was not put in a concentration camp. He worked for the Nazis. Do you know what George Soros' job was as a child working for the Nazis? It was confiscating property from the Jewish people that were being put in concentration camps. He worked at taking away their shoes. He worked at taking away their clothing and making sure that they had badges of the so-called Star of David put on. He assisted in that. Now, people say that people that were called Jewish that participated only did so to save their own hide. And I don't doubt that there are people that did that. That, you know, that's the whole Holy Spirit brainwashing mentality, that they're going to say whatever they have to say to save their ass and do whatever they have to do to save their own ass. There's no doubt. But in that interview with George Soros, he takes delight. He is delighted. He's smiling. He's grinning. He's the happiest looking George Soros you've ever seen when he talks about taking away stuff from the Jewish people that got sent to the gas chambers. And he has the audacity to say, oh, I'm a Hungarian Jew. There was the Holocaust. Jewish people had Holocaust. He participated and he liked it. He's the problem. People like him can never be the solution. And he's been a problem in the world, robbing countries of their wealth, which if the countries were the way we have documentation, like the Declaration of Independence in our country, if all countries were like that, It's the people's wealth to decide what's going on and how our government is going to be run. And all we would have to do is vote for those things, not vote for somebody that's going to usurp us by being corrupted through campaign contribution, through a so-called legal system of bribery. Not that. I mean, vote for the specific laws for their put into place, for them to be repealed, for management of our government. You know, the Constitution shows how the day-to-day activities are supposed to be basically structured. The problem is all these departments and bureaucracies that were created on top of and above of what was originally started have become their own autonomous vehicles of civil rights violations against the people. And even the court system themselves look at the bureaucracies as being the authority, but also as being the experts in whatever given situation. And whether it's a corporation that's a criminal entity or a government bureaucracy that's a criminal entity, they are all the same. They all have lawyers that are pulling the puppet strings from the background that will never in a million years be held accountable, because they are the same lawyers that defend the people in the corporations, in the government offices, for their crimes and civil rights violations of the people. And when that happens, the person who actually hands-on violated people's civil rights, most of the time because they thought they were doing right. But ignorance of the law is no excuse when it comes to the citizen. Let's not forget that. But ignorance of the law is an excuse if you're a government official. Let's not forget that either. So there's a double standard there. So they agree with perpetuating the problem because they don't want to be targeted.
That is some crazy stuff. See, that's what I like about you, Tristan. Like I said, you know some stuff. I mean,
That's
you
because
dig
I
deep.
left school. That's because I left school at 13 years old, and half the time, well, I skipped school on a regular basis when I was 13 years old. Half the time I'd go to like the Museum of Science, and I rarely went to school, but I still graduated because I was smart enough to pass the academic test. I did the same thing at 14 years old and passed the 8th grade. By the 9th grade, I was sick of the bullshit going on in the school, which I didn't know at the time was an indoctrination process in order for me to accept having my civil rights violated on by a so-called authoritative figure. That's what the brainwashing campaign in public school is. I didn't understand what it was back then, but I didn't
Right.
like it, and I got away from it. If not, I probably could have been one of those people if I had the financial ability for my family to have got a doctorate at an extremely young age. If I had the right guidance to harness the ability. I do believe that would have been possible, but that was never nurtured in me. I don't claim I have that off the top of my head. Oh, I can go out and just, have the ability to pass all the exams and get a doctorate, even though I started trying by taking CLEP tests, and I did very well in psychology, sociology, and business laws, which are 3 very important things in society to know about when it comes to what it is that we're talking about.
So Treasure Warriors pops in. Like he's confirming that recording. So that recording, if it's the same day, the day after, and like I opened my eyes and all of a sudden everything just got real picture clear. It would make you wonder if it wasn't for the safety or the continuation of the chase to try to eloquently end the chase in a simple, hopefully peaceful manner by having the chest pulled from the spot, I guess, that only two people now would know. But I don't know. Is he asked now? Is it Shiloh asking because he knows the same spot, or is it a question that he's asking Forrest? Hopefully, thinking that Forrest will divulge the spot now that it's been found.
I didn't
That
get the
would be a
hand
good
recording.
question.
I didn't
Oh,
get
yeah.
the hand
Yeah.
recording. Where was that?
Yeah. It was probably, like I said, he probably hit record then in his pocket on a tape recorder or something, or even on his phone. And sitting next to Grandpa talking about it, looking at the emails. It's like, oh, look, it's been found.
Yeah, but how do you know about the recording? I never heard it. Where is it?
It's floating around there on a couple of the other YouTube channels. Matter of fact, one of them was more leaked recording from Shiloh, from Calazar's. That was last night's show.
Does that have the one that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Because I listened to the Calazars and the volume was so low and so distorted that I couldn't hear what it is that was being said accurately.
Well, like I said, the way it sounded was like it was either a question or inquiry to either try to either get the location, or it almost sounds like a known location. Like if we hit it in the same spot, or if you hit it in the same spot, would make a difference in the wording. If he had said, if we hit it in something else in the same spot, I bet you that would make a difference, because then that would totally imply that he knew where it would have been located at or transferred to. This is some kind of ferry or something.
Yeah, which means it would no longer be the one person, Forrest Fenn, who knew the exact location, which means people that know the locations, let's say there were 2 or 3 additional more people, that out of those 2 or 3 additional more people, one of those might decide to help somebody get there in order for it to achieve something that they want to achieve.
Questions that people ask. At least that's a question I'm asking to myself. Well, I know there's some dates on these. I don't know if they're real dates or not, or just numbers. This one looks like it's a 1976. Then it's got 1620 underneath it, so whatever that was, a weird bird thing. I'm coming in. It looks like he's holding a guitar. But my phone's down to 15%. My tablet's good at 70. And it's 6 minutes before Treasure Warriors goes on. I like to watch them. And
I don't think I'm
I like-
I don't think I'm longer subscribed to Treasure Warriors, because in the chat I got booted out. What the heck's that called? Banned.
oh, really?
So because
Well,
I can't
you-
add any input, I don't actively seek to watch the shows.
So things that we stand for, this figure I'm showing right now, it's an interesting thing. this guy, he's got on one side it's an axe, and on the other side it's a dragon. And this is a bannerman. His banner is so tall and big compared to him. You know, he's showing what he stands for, and he uses detail in it. Whereas like that other person earlier in here today, who shall not be named, trying to portray something. This guy's a little rusty.
Yeah,
Needs a
but that
cleanup.
last guy that you showed, what was it that he stood for?
Well, I would hope in my kingdom that that the the defense, you know, and the ability to have strength to attack. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
just
but that's a
because he,
that's a dragon there.
yeah, I mean, that dragon would totally defend me in any manner. You know what I mean? And my axe is to protect those who can't be protected. I have to slay those who would be slaying the innocent.
What is that?
Yeah, see, you would like to think that in an ideal world, but that's the serpent. The dragon is the serpent. That's the duality. That's one side fighting against another side, like I was telling you about, and you think that your side is defending for you, but actually they just want to keep you in your place so they can oppress you, which is the same on the other side. And in the middle, all the people that are fighting ability and age are in the middle getting killed so that they can
Yep.
never go against the authorities that are oppressing them.
Yeah. And that, I mean, and that's the Independence Day, to break away and be able to say I'm free. I'm free from being oppressed. You know, I've been free. You know,
Where did you find
You
yourself?
think you're free? You think you're free
So-
from oppression?
me? Nah, I'm totally oppressed by my own debt that I created. So I mean, there's that. So that creates depression.
Okay.
You know, but so these are D&D figures. My dad used to play Dungeons and Dragons back in when he was in the service,
Ooh, them are worth money now.
and so these are all, we moved in here I think in 1987, but they're at least pre 1990 figures.
Wow.
So I mean, this is obviously by Broadsword. I
Mhm.
want to say that's 1978 on the bottom there.
It is.
Oh, good, because I can't see worth of shit, and it's embarrassing because I need my glasses on. But, yeah, there were several figurines that I was going through. Here's the lesson that I need. A few lessons that I need to learn. Two of them. One of them is don't touch. Don't get. Well, I need to be quiet. Learn to be quiet. Learn not to talk. And the other thing is learn not to just touch stuff, but don't be giving stuff away that don't belong to you. So if anybody needs a lesson in that, I'm letting you know now that it's easier to defend quietness than an open mouth. And it's, if it's not yours, don't touch it. And especially if it's not yours, don't be trying to give it away, because all you're going to do is create hate and discontent beyond belief, and in a manner in which you will never conceive again. And so those are lessons that I'm learning right now as I'm home visiting and helping Pops clean out his stuff. But so these Dungeons and Dragons characters were supposed to be in the protected box truck. And, oh, come here, dragon. And unfortunately, they were in the waterlogged trailer that got water damage.
Oh,
But luckily that these guys are
they're still in good shape.
Oh yeah, they just need a little, cleaning.
Yeah, a little.
So this is so that wolf and this baby dragon, I'm gonna hit my pops up and be like, can I have these? Because the baby dragon is I love dragons, and I got Kiwi, and Kiwi's my little green dragon.
Wait a
She's my
second,
little
wait a
my light
second.
dragon.
No, no, you can't do that.
What?
That's
That's right.
breaking
It's
rule
not mine.
that's breaking rule number one. Keep your mouth shut.
Mm. See, see that's keeping me on my toes. See, but I'm gonna lay them aside, and my dad will be like, "Hey, what are these?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. They look like D&D characters." And hopefully, like, "Oh well, let me look around and see what else I got."
Them are hard
No, yeah, yeah. I got a good scolding on on learning a lesson. About I need to learn to keep my mouth shut. Which is a hard thing. It's a hard thing because we all want to speak up and let our emotions, how we feel, how we're feeling, what we're thinking, to be expressed, to be able to come out, and without that fear of being, knocked down. It's gonna happen regardless, but it's the choices that we make, you know. So I just need to
So
learn
you
to,
were,
to
so you
choose
were,
to be quiet.
you were trained in nonverbal communication and symbolism.
Sure, okay. I don't know what that means, but it sounds good.
Well, if you have to keep your mouth shut, that means you can't talk. So if you're gonna communicate, you're gonna communicate using body language.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't I talk right now?
Behavior. Therefore,
Let
you're
me go
gonna get
put
an ass
myself back in
whipping.
the
You're
corner.
gonna get an ass whipping at times for something that you can't communicate verbally because you never learned how to communicate it verbally.
Right? So that's why I choose to speak up now. Though I choose wisely when to speak up now.
Yes.
There's a difference.
I know.
It's 7:03. I know Treasure Warriors is going live. So I'm gonna hop off here. I appreciate you coming on, Trusted. I appreciate you coming on, Rob.
Yep.
Other people, I wish you would come on. Maybe another day. Zoom's always open. I'm gonna start doing it that way, just having open Zooms right off the beginning, you know. And yeah, don't forget to check out that video, Forrest Fenn coin giveaway 1988 with the number 988 after it. Comment and share. I don't know how many people watch this video after it's been posted. Probably like zero, but at least we got 12 people that are in here. Just in case, I'll repost that link right now in case anybody ever comes in late. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Clipboard, post it.
So
Because it's
Kiwis Road, those people might still be stuck on rule number one, keep your mouth shut.
no, but they can wisely leave me a comment so that I can learn a lesson, so that I could better myself through their mistakes. That would be the best gift somebody could give me. You know what I mean? Or
Mhm.
anybody. And then that way it's shared because then I repeat what they say as I read out the comments, the new comments anyway. Maybe
That's exactly how we got stuck in the predicament we're stuck in.
I know.
Because one group of person had their civil rights violated, and they shared with us, this is what will happen to you if you do this. So therefore, we didn't do it no more because we didn't want that to happen to us. And
right.
we don't know how to communicate what's going on because we never learned how, because we had to keep our mouths shut too.
Well, hopefully through society and the growth and evolution of communication, we can all learn to communicate our feelings and thoughts in a much calmer and peaceful way, and hopefully with less bloodshed than necessary. I mean, if not, then what has everybody who has fought for our freedoms died for? They would have.
Well,
I
have
would have
you-
think that they would have died for what? Oh, no, who's that guy? Oh, I only got like 15 seconds. Somebody, that guy. You got anybody guys know that guy? That guy's on. How you doing, that guy?
I don't know that guy.
Eric, what are you talking about, man? Somebody just said I need a haircut. I just went to a stand down event with
Well,
with my father, you know, since we're both veterans, and
I don't know.
I got a free haircut there, so I think I like my haircut quite nicely.
That guy left.
Oh, okay. Well, that guy ended up not being that guy that wanted to come get. Yeah, it was okay.
That guy probably
There's
didn't know.
always, huh?
That guy probably didn't know what he was doing.
Oh, it's okay. Well, if they try to come back, well, maybe I'll stay on until my battery dies on the phone.
I don't know.
But you know, there's other good entertainment out there.
Yeah.
You know,
All righty.
and I'm hungry myself, so
Yeah. I'm gonna get going, Kiwi. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your 4th of July.
you all enjoy the
Take
rest of
care,
the year,
number.
4th of July. Thanks again for stopping by.
Yep.
And
See you later, Chad.
everybody else out there in YouTube land and Facebook land and wherever land you are. Oh, I guess I had to talk over this way, huh? Instead of this way to the chat. So in chat, I got y'all right here. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your 4th of July. Please be safe. When lighting your fireworks, if you have cakes, don't burn the tape that's holding the cake together, or else you're gonna shoot fireworks underneath your neighbor's car, and they're gonna go pop pop. And towards kids. So just a safety warning. That's why I don't like fireworks no more, because I had that danger, and so you learn from your mistakes. So I watch other people blow their shit up. So yeah, and with that, y'all keep calm and treasure on. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for stopping by Kiwi's Road. I hope you enjoyed today's adventure. And if there's anything y'all want to see, just post it on a comment underneath this video, and maybe I can find some more old show and tell stuff. You know what I'm talking about? If not, I don't know. We'll see. Show more D&D stuff at the very least. Different characters. You got a ton of them. Ton of them. But anyway, oh yeah, hair looks warm. You know, when I looked at it, I thought I had a cat sitting on my head still. I'm like, meow, meow. So, and the grays are showing in too. So I was like, oh, soft little cat. Oh, you know what I mean? But anyway, you all keep classy and enjoy the rest of your evening. Be safe. Love y'all. Stay safe. Seriously, stay safe.
Thanks,
Don't be
man.
burning houses down. You know what I mean? It's bad juju.
Thanks for having me on.
Not a problem. Thanks for stopping by. Y'all take care now. Adios. Clicking buttons. Which button is it? This button. That button.